Hey, good morning, friends. Pastor Jason with your Tuesday morning check-in. I'm not sure how much rain that all of you experienced last night and this morning, but when I woke up this morning, there was a dove with an olive branch in its beak on the windowsill. I think that's going to set the tone for what this day is going to look like for us. If you are one who might be affected by some flooding, some water in your garage, water in your basement today, you know, good 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 luck getting through all of that. Might be there myself later on before all of this passes. Know how unfortunate and annoying that kind of stuff is. But currently, right now outside on my deck, it's just filled with the sounds of birds chirping like crazy. And what a great reminder, kind of how after the rain, after the storms, there's the stillness that's going to come through. Then the sounds of nature get to fill that back up. And as we talk about silence, as we talk about solitude, how sometimes, after the rush, after the sound of the torrential rain passes by, the sounds of nature, the sounds of God can come and kind of fill in to that vacuum and overwhelm us. And I'm experiencing just a little bit of that this morning, which has been a great reminder for me. I'm going to come at this angle of solitude, I think, just a little bit differently than what we're going to be talking about the rest of this week. The majority of the time that Pastor Angie and I are going to be talking to you about silence and solitude, it's about kind of getting away from the distractions, getting away from all of the noise and all of the flashing lights and everything that is clamoring and fighting for our attention, and getting one-on-one alone with God. Because it is in that one-on-one alone with God where we can hear Him, where we can be renewed, we can be restored, we can be re-energized in that quiet, in that silence. And that's awesome. It is life-giving. It truly is. One of my retreats for one of my classes last fall, we spent a full day in silence. We met for breakfast, we went to morning worship, and then we did nothing. We were cut loose on the grounds of the retreat center for 7 hours. With the only break we came to lunch, we were still to eat in complete silence. And there was, I filled parts of that with reading, filled parts of that with prayer. I found that I got the most out of filling large parts of that day just by finding this really great bench kind of out in the woods and just doing nothing. I wasn't asking God for in anything. I was just making myself available for God to pour into me, and He did. And it was a truly great experience. And if you're one who is able to do that when you go for walks, when you get up in the morning and you have some quiet time, maybe after your devotional, before you enter into a time of prayer, you just spend some time in silence. That's awesome. That's a wonderful practice. That's what the majority of our talk about these disciplines is going to be about. But I just want to come a little bit differently at this idea of trying to minimize distractions, trying to get ourselves away from the noise, away from the lights, away from the beeps, away from all of that stuff that tries to distract us, and talk about how we spend time one-on-one with other people. For as important as it is for us to go and get one-on-one with God, to have one-on-one time with our friends, with our family, with our spouses, with our kids, to have some opportunity to focus solely on that person is so essential. I think now more than ever. But so often what it is that we do in our lives is we model Christ for other people, especially those who may not know Christ. So as we encourage people to get to solitude, if they don't see the benefit of it, and if the only reference point that they have for conversations is people who are constantly checking their smartwatch or their phone or looking at their email, scanning around the room to see who else is there. They're half looking at the TV and then trying to pay attention to the person who is talking. If that's the model that someone has for relationships, then what's their encouragement to go get one-on-one with God? There's a responsibility that we have for each other to care for one another and to care deeply, to love each other as Christ loved us. I think that's in the Bible some place. So as we think about how we can minimize distraction and ways to minimize distraction, yes, the goal is to do that so we can get one-on-one with God. But as we do that, let's also think about how we can minimize the distractions for our conversations and our relationships with other people. Maybe that means that we don't put our phone on the table when we meet someone for coffee, but we leave it in our pocket or in your purse or in your backpack. Maybe if your smartwatch or your Fitbit or whatever it is goes off a whole, maybe you take that off and leave that on your desk when you go to meet with someone. Maybe it means that you turn the TV off when people come over to your house and when you're meeting with them. Those small things that we can do right there to minimize the distractions in our everyday life can go a long way to model for other people the benefit of minimizing the distractions from their normal, from just their normal day to day. I know for a fact, friends, that when we go to God in prayer, that God listens. And God listens to us, and God never forgets a single thing that we have prayed. How often can people say about you that when you talk to them, you know that they listen to you, and you know that you remember everything that they say? We're all going to forget some things, and I don't want to make light of that. What I'm saying is that we have an opportunity now, as we consider how we minimize our distractions, to not only apply that to how we go and spend some one-on-one time with God, but how we can also spend one-on-one time with the people who God has surrounded us with in life. And that may turn out to be just as valuable, not only for us, but for those other people who we interact with, that we can be a beacon, we can be a model of what it's like to kind of be able to come in and focus on them, focus your care, focus your attention, focus your love. So I just invite you to kind of add that little wrinkle to this week as we think about some silence and some solitude as we get into service then next week. How is our ability to minimize our distractions and focus with each other also going to be of great benefit? Got any thoughts or comments on that? Please feel free to leave that here on the post. We'd be happy to respond to any of that stuff. Have a great day. Hope you all get to stay dry and stay warm. But soon we'll be able to get back outside. But until then, folks, be safe, be well, know how much that you are loved.